I am in the right meeting, right?
Yes,
You looked at me and I'm like, okay.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, you're quite welcome. You're inviting me. But anyone like coffee? We have some in the kitchen. Or water? More than welcome to make yourself at home.
Kathy, the Peruvian's cold.
Usually lets me know if
The what?
The Peruvian coffee's cold.
Okay.
Don't sit down.
Unless you like nice
Real
milk
coffee, real coffee,
Yeah.
McDonald's.
I had a
John,
nuke
Lee
in the
and
microwave.
Tess, nice to meet you, John. Yeah, I've seen you somewhere around. Where do we know each other from?
Running around all over the place.
John's been
Probably
around.
good.
Yeah.
Already here in
Look
July.
carefully, I goofed it up.
You should give us one of these.
Jerry, I almost wore the match to your.
I wondered if you remember you have the same pair.
I do. I almost wore it today too. Wouldn't that have been funny if I had?
I don't know.
And I almost dyed my hair purple.
Did you really? Damn, I wish you had. I think we should all do that. Oh, and then what am I gonna do?
I want
Green.
Smoking group.
I like it.
Green.
I like it.
I don't know if they can do turquoise.
They can do anything. Sure.
There you go. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
Fine.
I
A girl one day, she had turquoise and red hair, and I said, how do you do that turquoise?
Uh-huh.
I went to a shop, I didn't know.
I know her, she's my friend Jill.
Yeah.
Yep,
Really?
yeah.
Long time no see.
Unless there's somebody
Doing
else
well?
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Turquoise and red hair. Yep, short hair, wears eyeglasses.
I know, I just ran into it one time, I think at like Ingles or somewhere, but it's in that, I've never been there.
Yeah, yeah, I know her.
I embarrassed Dawn.
There's a
There's
seat down there.
there's our fearless leader.
There, here.
I embarrassed her to death, that's one of their hair colors.
Thank you very much.
That's it, you got scissors?
She's sitting down there. And Mark's the president. You're sitting down there.
Time and place is being touched so.
It is true. How long have you been doing this?
Too much time on it, too much time on the airplane.
This group is really bad places as well as good ones. In the burst of speaking.
That on the airplane. Went up north, got back the other day. I'm leaving in a week, go to a wedding.
There's way too much time, Yeah. And they're bored.
Might have the same hair. She didn't wear them today, she almost did. But I bought them for her, and then I have another pair.
All right, good idea.
So you're gonna film us yet?
Oh, you popular.
You'll get old head.
No, I promise not to get that.
Where's Catherine?
Oh, yeah, she's usually there.
I might be able to email Kathy. Or if she doesn't show up. Let her know that we
Well, you know,
We don't have.
always on my list.
Oh.
I have no doubt. I haven't seen the you weren't asking me when I was really bad.
It's one of those months that I was
with
with
Nick
Nick
Rose
Rose.
with.
I'll bring my calendar.
Once I'm really good.
July,
Almost went over
July
the
is
table
actually
and
better
punched him
than
out.
Not that close.
Well, he deserved it. Oh, okay. We'll let it happen. Did you leave your keys in? Yeah. And then
Oh, well, we got to do September.
Oh, are we doing, when we're gonna get wind? Got into my house, we came out there, and I got home, and I realized
Yeah, I don't have. This stays in each one.
Are you on our team?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I can
Marsha?
switch back to
And
Mary.
After what she did, did you hear the whole thing though?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
She
Yeah,
called me and I wanted, I said,
Oh my, and I didn't leave
assistant,
right
so I
away.
became
You
assistant.
left
They
right.
said she didn't show
Do the
up.
mileage or whatever.
That's what you get
I
for
never
speaking
thought
up,
it.
isn't it?
Then I went shot
And then
home.
she only had it for 15 years, and then she wouldn't continue with it.
My
So
keys are in
Just 15 years, that's a
Oh,
long
I'm so sorry. I'll come right now. She says, no,
I
no,
love
no.
it.
I don't want the house getting close.
pitiful.
I said, I'm so sorry. She says,
So
it's
you
not
decided to
your
help her
fault.
out.
I didn't know what to do.
She'll-
My
she'll
car, and then
be
she
up
left
there.
her book there and.
Then I left-
And
I
then
think
she,
I got home and I realized I left some order against the mailbox that I was leaving for an hour
I missed
at
a meeting
Rush.
and
And
got
I
back.
had to go
Oh,
back
is that how you?
and,
How did you get here?
I don't lock my house, so I called a friend who answered their phone.
Mrs.
I felt
So at least
so
call
bad.
me.
I immediately.
You would never think to check the car to say, okay, now did you get all
No.
of your belongings?
Well, now I
will.
will. Now, believe
Maybe if
me.
you're a 3-year-old, you know.
No, I'll check it.
Okay.
You don't have to hit one over there and eat that one over there, but a small one.
Pitiful.
I wonder if we could just collect them from the desk or in the box. Good morning.
Good morning.
All this bureaucracy. Okay. We do have a couple visitors. She just went out.
Quick, take your seat
She liked
back.
us so much she left.
Quick, go take your seat back.
I don't want to move her around. I know you go to the county commissioner meetings or
Yeah.
something? And
Jerry Rice.
would you just introduce yourself real quick?
I'm Jerry Rice, advocate for
Okay, that's, Barbara said she had invited you, I think. Yeah, she's somebody, well, yeah, she'll be back.
Leanne.
Why
don't we
just
go quick around?
Okay, why don't we just go, well, by the time Leanne gets here, she
Maybe
won't
we
know
should-
anyhow.
Wait till Leanne gets back.
Yeah, because
She's the one who doesn't know who we all are.
I didn't think that was Leanne. I thought I knew who Leanne
No,
was.
there's two Leannes. There's Leanne Smith, who's an ombudsman, and Leanne Tucker, who is the head of the AAA.
name, Jerry.
There she is.
It's only, yeah, the area agency on aging. Oh. Which is why she could be here, right? Leanne, we're waiting for you so we can introduce ourselves.
You know, maybe that will help circulate.
If you just would introduce yourself and then we'll go around and introduce ourselves.
Sure, if you'd like to. Leanne Tucker, I'm the director of the Area Agency on Aging here at Atlanta Sky and also director of our Volunteer Services Department. And thank you for inviting me and letting me listen in and be a guest today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
I'm Mary Adami.
I'm Don Divert, I'm obviously the chairman.
Peggy Beer. Peggy Fred.
Spike, I'm the treasurer.
Thomas Alone, vice chair.
Kathy Beatty, DSS.
Marcia Satan.
I'm Lorraine Coe.
Jerry Hunter.
Barbara Mayer.
Bob Phillips.
John Bernard. Sid.
Sarah, how are you?
Thank you both for being here. Let's get right on to this. I'm looking at my agenda and I think they left something off it, so.
They left the minutes on.
Yeah, they left the minutes off it. So we'll look at the minutes, and are there any additions or corrections?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
John, under the team reports, under the first one, West,
Uh-huh.
fourth sentence starts, there was not enough perishable food. That should be non-perishable food.
Okay.
Non-perishable food. And then down under the DSS report, you have penalty upheld for the death of a resident, and then there's a star. Does that refer to the 2 stars that are at the end of the minutes?
No, I just tried to space it out so that when she changed the subject,
Oh, okay, all right.
and maybe.
John was just adding his little flair.
All right. Just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing some explanation for.
As with every week, John, I feel your pain.
I moved
You feel his pain, but you're enjoying
For
it.
35 years, I graded student papers in nitpicking on
I don't
it.
think John.
It's all coming back to you.
Okay, what was that now?
I move we accept the minutes as.
We have a motion to accept the minutes.
One more thing, in the minutes, it mentioned, Carol Peterson, the commissioner and all that. It didn't mention Karen. Because Karen is the one that spoke to the commissioners and set it up.
Whereabouts are you looking at this?
First paragraph.
First paragraph.
Oh, I see.
It lists Kathy and me, but it doesn't list Karen who attended and set it up.
Okay.
What's her last name?
Oschlager.
No.
It's under the,
Oh,
look under,
you mean,
under the
oh,
absent.
you mean that Karen? I didn't see
Yeah.
her. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she should.
Type of beer.
Right, yeah,
Any other additions, corrections?
I still move that we
Okay.
accept.
We now have, we have a still move. And we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Then I see Spike has decided to come back. Do we have any money left, Spike? Have you spent it all?
No, I have not. In fact, the treasury is now swollen to the grand amount of $1,483.91.
Party.
Does that include the?
That includes the $500, yes.
How much was that again? How much?
How much? What? The number, again.
1,400. 93, $1,483.91.
All right. Team reports. East.
We are up to date. We've done some visiting. The Avalon Hills continues to be, Avalon Hills past names were Shady Brook. Everybody know what I'm talking about? Okay. Continues to be seemingly going downhill again. Dirty, grime-filled. The community bathrooms were extremely, extremely dirty. Just absolutely filthy in the bathtub. 2 sinks were stocked up and filled with dirty, blackish water. Of course, they say people had recently stocked them up or recently vomited in them.
Oh, geez.
Furniture was in disrepair. One community bathroom, the tub had a heavy, heavy leak. It was just, not just drips, it was, a leak coming out. The residents do say the activity calendar has improved, and they said we did talk to the cook, and they finally have a steady cook, so it seems like the food service is much improved. She's pretty dedicated to providing them better food. Again, we reviewed all this with the SIC, and we had a new one again. She'd only been there since March. And their last health inspection received an 80.5 in April.
And that will be a corrective action that's issued because of that.
How many residents? They can hold, I think, 49.
Oh, my goodness.
But they probably only have in the 30s, high 30s. We used to. It's a really old building. Just not a pleasant place. One resident, the previous visit, that was the room where the shower works, so the ladies would all use that private shower. This visit, the toilet in that room did not work, and there was mildew and mold on the ceiling and walls, just all over. It was just very unpleasant. Then we also, put my head in order here. Chase Samaritan. Again, with the diabetic diets, they had that one where they went in and reviewed them. They they just say they use the regular menu for the diabetic diets when we talk to the SIC, nothing special. So I didn't get a good sense that they understand diabetic diets. They counted all the forks. The home only had 30 metal forks for 53 residents. They had absolutely no plastic forks, and they had no knives. They don't give knives, but they did have a box of plastic spoons. Now, they didn't need the forks for supper. I think they were having soup and sandwich, but they would have needed them for breakfast. So So, and I know this is the second time, because last time we complained and they went in there and looked. But she said that they, she claims that the silverware loss is the residents' fault. They bend them, they throw them out, or they steal them, and that she orders them constantly. So I suggested she get plastic and just do throwaway, and she didn't like that.
I would think the count.
Because we had, they don't have enough. The residents say, I had to eat my dinner with a spoon.
That's when you think to count forks.
You know, and they say, oh, look, we got them. And then you count them up, and they don't have them. The guys in the kitchen are pretty cowed. They kind of don't really want to, they're pleasant enough, but you can tell they're fearful of talking to us.
Are they residents in the kitchen or
No,
are they paid
they're
staff?
paid staff. So they continue to have their issues there.
And the manager, or the owner of the place, followed us everywhere we went, right?
You got there before I did,
Yeah.
The
That was
SIC.
very unnerving.
The owner was.
Not the owner, it was the SIC.
Yes, I see. She followed us everywhere we went. She stood there, staring at the residents, to make sure the residents said nice things.
It helps that sometimes if three of you can go.
I
make a
got
set
held
of
up at work, so I told them to start without me and I joined them.
And if you split up.
Yeah, but that way two of you can kind of be with the SIC and one person can kind of surreptitiously go along.
You can even do that when you have two people. If you can get the SIC distracted by one person, the other person can go.
Yeah.
Look around. And we've done that before, I know too.
She wasn't following us to be pleasant.
Good.
Should do Marjorie in the film?
Marjorie
Yeah.
McEwen was nothing unusual. They're about the same. I'd received a call. I'd been out of town myself. I got it last night. I tried to call back from resident Marjorie McEwen. She must have used the main phone number because I got the recording that they close at 5. So they didn't open till 8:30. I couldn't call her this morning. I'll call her when I get to the office.
Lorraine, we revisited.
We went to Becky's number 1 and Becky's number 2, and it was good. We visited right before Memorial Day weekend, so a lot of these places had planned different activities. And when we were there, they had a new activities director, and she said that afternoon they were going to Fletcher Park. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And I said, well, I was thinking I would probably go to Fletcher Park that afternoon too. And I did, and they were there. And I walked over to speak to them, but they were so busy trying to choose chocolate or strawberry ice cream that I wanted to talk to them. But it was great to see them out like that on the mountain. It was clean, you know, the meals looked good. So I would say since Phyllis has taken over as SIC there, it's vastly improved from where it used to be. Amazing, amazing. Residents seem happy. There was one guy walking when we got there, and when he came in, I think he had a stroke and was on oxygen, but he felt like if he kept exercising, he was going to recover, and so it was good. We also went to Flesher's. What can I say? They were having an activity that was scheduled. It was very clean, well organized. Most of the people were in the activity, so we only talked to a few people that day, but it was nice too. We also went to Chums Cove, and at Chums Cove they had a family day scheduled that afternoon where they were having a cookout and invited family community in, and they were having music and door prizes, and they invited us to come back. I didn't go to that. The only concern we had on all the visits, I think, was at Chums Cove, there was a sign in the dining area that had a person's name, and it said, so-and-so is a feeder. You will need to sit down and feed him at all meals.
There's a feeding tube, I think. Didn't it say that at the
I think it just said he is a feeder.
A feeding?
I'm not
Well,
sure.
it was out
I
in
thought
public,
that
so
meant
we
they had
didn't know
to
if that was
feed him.
a violation or
Yeah,
confidentiality.
We weren't sure, so we talked to, it was the assistant administrator, and she said that she'd gotten directions from this person's doctor to put a sign up.
Make
So,
sure that,
yeah,
but it doesn't seem very person-centered to have.
it was just right there in front of God and everybody in
Yeah.
the cafeteria. So, I mean, we noticed it, and she said that they put it up because the doctor directed them to, or asked them to post a sign. But, I don't know, before holiday weekend, everybody was doing really well. It was good.
Let me just say before we go on, I guess pass your reports down here since Barbara's not here, and we'll get them to her office, and give them to you to take.
Glad to be here.
And don't forget, this is the end of the quarter, so you need to turn the reports in by June. I mean, your quarterly report. Oops, okay. Let me see, Wes.
Yes. Karen and I made a visit to Canterbury Hills. It was the way it usually is. There was a problem with privacy for the phones because the phone in the recreation room was broken when we got there. The other phone is in the office with like a Dutch door that's open on top. It's attached to the wire to the phone, so you have to stand in the hallway where everyone is talking on the phone. But while we were there, they have a man that fixes the phones in a bunch of these homes. He came there and he fixed the phone. The place was what it usually is, dark, dank, whatever, somewhat dirty. We also had a little situation there. While we were standing near the office, one man threatened another man, and the other man had a cane, and he started to raise it to hit him. And Karen and I are standing right there. But the guy that was fixing the phone, he intervened, so we were all right. They're doing well on their activities.
AT&T?
I think he works for Whitner in all the homes. He goes from one home to another and fixes the phone. And it was very nice that he stepped in because we were standing right there when the cane was up. There was an improvement in activities. I met this man, I think his name was Dennis Williams, he's a resident there. He helps the activities director, and when we got there, they had little board games out. This was in the recreation room. Some of them were drawing things, they had a Wii there. And Dennis took me to the activities closet and showed me all the things they do. They had bingo, they make model cars, they paint them. It seemed pretty nice. And when we were leaving, I met the activities director. And she was very nice, very concerned about everything. She says she's working with someone, there's some sort of a pool in Buncombe County that she thinks she's going to be able to get the residents in for some swimming. She's working on that. They go to movies, they do all sorts of activities. So I think that was really going well.
Do they have transportation options?
They do have vans.
They have
They do
vans.
have vans.
Yeah. And they also have 20 vacancies right now. They had 79 residents, 20 vacancies, which usually they have a little.
Their census is low because of the IMD thing that's looming ahead, so.
Oh, okay. So that was that. And then Spike, Peggy, and I went to Handler Living, and that was basically fine. It was even a little cleaner than it has been in the past. Residents were very happy. The food is good, everything's fine, but they always complain that they're far away from everything, that while it was very pleasant, quiet, nice, they can't go anywhere. There's no transportation that's close or anything, and that was it.
There's two in the building. It must be somebody's, excuse me. There's two dogs in the building, but I think they're employees.
Is this bring your dog to work
It must
thing?
be.
Yeah, it is. There's dogs everywhere.
Having a mighty good time too.
I just have to keep them in their office.
If I had only known.
They're
I
not,
brought my goats.
Yeah, there you go.
they're not
I
distracted.
could work on them
Okay.
naturally, couldn't I?
Yeah.
And that's, we're up to date.
Okay. North.
We're up to date, and Bob and John made a visit. You wanna talk
We
about
just
it?
recently visited Joanne's Family Care Home. There's four residents there. The home was nice. It's one of the homes that very much home-like, and we didn't find anything. Just no surprises as we anticipated. Really well in place. That's it. John, you want to add?
She cares about it. It's basically, she thinks of it as being her home, and these are her family.
South.
Okay, first of all, Kathleen wants to be excused. She had
Okay,
a
I haven't
family-
seen the sheet. Have you passed
She had a
the
family
name
emergency.
sheet around?
Oh.
Right. And the South, Kathleen and I are going out next week. We have not gone out since our last meeting, but we have one scheduled for next week to bring us up to date. Have you been out at all?
Not since the last meeting, but as far as I know, we're up to date for the quarter.
I think there's 3 left that we have to do next week, and then we'll be done.
Okay.
So that's it from the South.
Okay. All right. Kathy.
Well, I wanted to thank everyone for their participation in helping me take Commissioner Peterson to visit. We decided to give her an option to see a family care home setting and also an adult care home setting. So in the essence of time, we picked 2 that were close together. She met Bianca and went to Angel House 7 and a couple of the other Angel Houses and talked to residents and was just very impressed with the family-like setting and community setting there. And then we went to Starla's and went to Richmond Hill 1 through 5, which also, is very well run and at this point doing a good job of taking care of the residents. And I think the interesting thing about visiting those is that they're well integrated into the community. The neighbors are not complaining. They're very proactive in seeing that that the residents are a part of the community. I think one barrier has been that they moved a bus stop. They used to be down at the end of the road, and so the residents are complaining that they don't have access that they used to get into town. But there is transportation for medical appointments and some shopping excursions. We were not asked to come to, we did ask to go to Canterbury Hills as a team, and that request was refused. So I think you all still went as CAC members, but
Yes.
we did not go
Right.
as.
How can they refuse that? Who refused it?
Mr. Wright refused to
Can they
have.
do that?
Well, they can't refuse DSS coming in to do monitoring or CAC to do monitoring. But this was a request for a visit from a county commissioner. And
Which
they,
I think also should be
well,
accommodated.
well, it is their facility and it's a business, and they did not want to accommodate us. He did say that he would like first to talk to Commissioner Gant and get some more information, so that may be forthcoming.
I'm running.
Let the minutes reflect.
So we have had, let's see, I think 23 reports last month, 22 were screened in. We are writing a corrective action about the sanitation report and the building concerns at Avalon. We have also written several regular corrective actions, and they have been at various facilities, Hominy Valley, and Chase has also had some food shortages that continue to be a concern. And Hominy Valley had, it was some medication errors that were a concern. We've had a couple of meetings, pardon me. Yesterday had our latest meeting of the adult care home pilot project. That was a bill that was introduced by Senator Nesbitt. It has now stalled because of some concerns that some of the things in the bill might be in contradiction with either state or federal law. And so that is being worked out, and we hope. But in the meantime, locally, we're still plodding ahead with the project and are working now on those that want to voluntarily participate. We'll use a standardized pre-screening tool, which we're working on in a small group setting, and hopefully that will help some with the fit in the home in terms of figuring and getting the information we need before placement is made, rather than reacting to a person not fitting in once placement is already made. The other issue that is just looming large on the horizon is the IND determinations. I think Cedar Brook in McDowell County has been deemed an IND. Institute of Mental Disease, which means that then your special assistance in Medicaid goes dark. I think they've gotten down to 39 residents, which is below 50% of their census. The question that still cannot be answered is it that you need to have less than 50% of your capacity or your census? So right now, their census is 39, which they're licensed for more than double that. But the latest information that came from the state is that it's going to also depend on who's getting psychotropic drugs, not just primary diagnosis of mental illness. So I think some people were thinking that, if you had overriding physical concerns, like, you were in a wheelchair, that may preclude your being determined as mentally ill. But if you're receiving psychotropic drugs, it may mean that then you are still considered mentally ill and you fit into that population. I truly don't know what's going to happen. I know that housing assessments have begun at Canterbury Hills and should be finished by July 3rd. From that point, I don't know. I know injunctions are being filed. A restraining order, I think, hit the Attorney General's office yesterday from 17 of the adult care homes in the state. So it's anybody's guess as to how fast this progression will move. Our concern is, of course, the residents that are going to need placement will be displaced. And so we had 2 people from the hospital yesterday meeting with us. I think the whole community is now getting the point that this is going to be disastrous in terms of just trying to take care of individuals who may be displaced or who may need care. And there's just not the capacity to find placement for everyone that's going to need it.
I have a question.
Sure.
There was an article that was sent out, one of the, and I didn't understand that is the legislature trying to put forward money so that if you don't qualify anymore for the federal money, then you would take state money, so you would continue to operate in a manner where you have half, more than half, mentally ill and elderly? In other words, they're just trying to keep it the same, and they're putting money out there for that? Or?
There is some transition money that's supposedly going to be allocated. Whether that will be to help people become mental health group homes or another type of setting, or just to help transition people to a different setting, I don't know.
I thought it was confusing.
Is there a regulation on how large a mental health home can be? In other words, could Canterbury feasibly transition to a mental health facility?
Most mental health group homes, I think, only have, I mean, they're like family care homes, they
Okay.
only have
Okay.
6.
So really, places like Avalon and Canterbury Hills could not transition because they're too large.
Unless there's just some other kind of program that they could develop.
Or they could change the law.
I don't know.
I know that the state is moving ahead fast because I work for the state and we've gotten some emails. They're mobilizing volunteers from across all their institutions. And the screen is quite simple. It is diagnosis and medications, psychotropics. You do a chart review.
And
So
Mary,
it's
does,
together, both of those, the diagnosis and
You list all the diagnoses.
and would a drug like Ativan be a psychotropic?
It is considered a psychotropic, but they have to find a I mean, if I was doing it, you'd have to find a matching diagnosis.
So for instance, a person with dementia, with
Dementia
agitation,
does not,
would not be considered, even though the
Or
person was on
traumatic brain
Ativan,
injury.
that wouldn't be a kick.
dementia is not a psychiatric, considered a psychiatric.
Okay, in this, got it.
Or traumatic brain injury or developmental disability.
Okay. Those are excluded from the mental health diagnosis.
So, I have a question about what you said there. If you're a volunteer being asked to participate in that, are you making those determinations?
You're writing down copying from the chart, the diagnosis and the list, the drugs that they're on.
So some other person
yes.
then decides this is a mentally ill person. That's what I was saying. That's interesting.
And does the diagnosis have to have been within a certain length of time?
No.
So this could be a 15-year-old
If it was
diagnosis?
15 years old and not active, it would not be on the chart.
Okay.
I mean, just realistically, it wouldn't be.
So at that point, if Medicaid and special assistance is lost, then I do not think that they can continue to operate, but
The larger group homes.
they're larger. homes.
Canterbury's, the Avalon Hills.
And those are the ones that have the most problems.
Yeah, well, most of these,
So they are.
so where are the people gonna go?
I think that was one of the best articles that was written, a month or so ago. There is no place for folks to go. And I think, I know in the legislature, there was something in the budget about establishing a blue ribbon commission to study housing and
Another commission.
But everyone agrees the industry needs to change. It's just that how it's going to change right now is
All
really
become homeless.
challenging.
Well, I think the big issue is now that the federal government has said you can't do this anymore. The only alternative is for the state to figure out another way to do it. And there's not a great incentive there to put any new money into anything, especially this type of program. So I don't see it happening this session at all. It's a short session as it is, and nothing's really moving.
So can the homes, pretty sure they can't do this legislature, they can't kick someone out after their 30-day notice to the street? Do they have to set them up with other placements?
If they can be found.
And if no other placement can be found, then what?
Then, my concern is not the 30-day notice, but because they will still be licensed facilities and they will still have to follow the rules and give people 30-day notices. But if they activate the adult care home discharge planning team and nothing can be found, then I don't know what the alternative will be other than a shelter.
The homes do not have to keep them.
I'm sorry, the homes do not what?
Have to keep them. If they've done their 30-day notice, they say they're inappropriate or whatever.
If the home cannot provide the medication and cannot provide food and cannot provide for them, because if their Medicaid goes dark, they will not have medications. So it's a matter of the homes not being able to operate. So what would, the expectation would be that there would be a collaboration of all the counties, because we were certainly notified of any residents that we had in other counties that may be in danger of having their special assistance and Medicaid cut off. So just trying to collaborate with other counties and find placement. But what you have to realize is that sometimes it's just not there.
We've got the most beds.
So a shelter is an option.
A shelter is an option.
Do we run the risk of having people from, say, the upstate being driven over the border and dumped in York County who are facing the same issue to
I don't think there is the same issue in
Yeah,
South Carolina.
it's
It's
not
just our
an
state.
issue.
It's incompetent.
And then the opposite, are we gonna drive people to South Carolina
Outdoors
and say,
Well, they're from South Carolina.
That's what I'm saying, are we
and
going
we
to
would
drive
go
them
back
back?
home.
Well,
Yeah.
an effort will be made to try and find any family supports that people have. That's part of the housing assessment.
and that would be in South.
But
Bye, it's been nice having you.
But there really aren't a lot of facilities in South Carolina because of the low board rate. I mean,
Why would they think that a shelter would be a more appropriate place for them to get medication and care than?
I don't think anybody does.
But there
The
just isn't any
the
else.
dilemma is,
There's no
where will people go?
But you would think that they would realize that definitely is
You
not-
would think. Operative term.
But there
Yeah.
aren't enough sheltered beds for the number of people you're talking
Especially,
about.
especially as the weather gets colder, those
And-
shelters are full.
Yeah.
And they're only the nighttime hours, they are not a 24-hour place. They, yeah.
Well, supportive housing would be, the best, the most ideal, and I think that's the goal in terms of creating more money for housing and more money for intensive case management. But in the meantime, the immediate concern is what happens to those people that are going to be displaced by the IND ruling.
Supportive housing, like Section 8 housing, that kind of thing, or more structured?
I think both. I think there are residents that are in our family care homes and adult care homes that actually, if there were affordable housing, might be able to, with community supports, make it independently. And that would certainly be the goal for everybody, to have independent living. But there also are, there is housing, that's specially designed for more supportive type group. Yeah. But they would need more intensive case management, life skills, and all of that sort of stuff.
All of which cost money to have as well.
There is a new psychosocial rehab that opened, strategic intervention opened, but it's behind Canterbury Hills. And that's an activity, and also they teach some life skills and are pulling from several other facilities in the West. And these are the same folks that used to have to go to Nebo or to McDowell County for that program. I don't know their capacity.
Now, you said that two had been designated now IND certified. What's happening in Canterbury then? Isn't that about the worst one around?
Well,
Most
they
of
have
them have
received
been?
their at-risk letter, but, and housing assessments are being done, but they have not received a letter saying that they are deemed an IND.
But they're still being investigated seriously.
Any other questions for Kathy? Okay, obviously Barbara's not here. I don't know if you have something from Barbara to say or anything?
She
No?
did not leave me any
Okay.
updates, so no report. That's
Any-
easy for your
Anybody have
job.
anything else they need to bring up?
No, they just got it, she just gave it to me. I read it. Or you want to mention it?
We were just talking about this editorial here on the mental health changes.
And that's
It
from,
might be the one
It's from the Asheville Citizen.
this one was,
This
it was one of the
yesterday's.
ones that Barbara was in.
Yeah, I read
the
one.
It was
This
from
is-
the news.
Barbara just gave it to me, it was from Wednesday.
Okay, nobody has anything else? Our next meeting is July the 20th. Thank you.
I saw a cute sign on the way there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.